Tell us more about tomatoes.
I get it. Well, look, the beauty of this is it helps explain why the basil's there in the first place and why there's a little tiny bit of basil in their tomato sauce, but it's not there on purpose. It's there just for tax purposes. Tomatoes you can buy. Other parts of the country, different amounts. California is a huge producer of canned tomatoes. Going back to the whole tariff thing, this is where things get really exciting and the history makes a lot of sense. The United States was not growing and canning a lot of tomatoes until 1930. Up until that point, there was a lot of imported Southern Italian tomatoes. And at that point, as of 1926, there was what is now a very famous tomato that was basically created for the canning process. It's called the San Marzano tomato. That's a tomato that's named for the town of San Marzano in southern Italy. And the tomato is this long, skinny, pointy, very dry, not a lot of water on the inside, not a lot of seeds in the inside. It's a user-friendly tomato. It's easy to use. Now, that tomato existed for about 4 years until 1930 when the Smoot-Hawley tariff prevented us from importing a lot of Italian tomatoes because that was the 1931.
And a lot of money for the Great Depression.
Exactly. It's exactly what it was. It was all about after the Depression hit, it was all about the U.S. trying to support U.S. farmers. So that's why we said, good for U.S. farmers, let's keep all this other stuff out. But what it did for U.S. farmers was it gave us this platform to have a domestic tomato program, among other fruits and vegetables. So the domestic tomato program really launched off in the 1930s, which is when we get a bunch of canners in California, which are still around today. A lot of them are still around today. So, when you're buying tomatoes in the grocery store, you can get tricked pretty easily. Because there's all these tomatoes on the shelves, like this one,
Oh my God, Karen.
where it's sold by a company called La Bella San Marzano, which is the name of the company, it's the brand. But the actual tomatoes inside this can are not San Marzano tomatoes. The name of the company is tricky. Then you find these other ones, which I don't have it with me, but these other ones that say right on the front of it, certified, but they're not certified by any organization that has any power. What they're doing is tricking you into believing that they are certified by the European Union, which does certify tomatoes. So they'll certify a tomato if it's the proper tomato that's picked by hand, the skin is removed by steam, then you're eligible to be a San Marzano, what they call a DOP, Designated Origin Protection. Those tomatoes are pretty rare and pricey, so pizzerias might say that they use them, but they very rarely do. In fact, let's just say hypothetically speaking, if we were on our way to a pizzeria that I have heard has claimed sometimes that they use San Marzano tomatoes, my only suggestion when taking that information into your ears is to nod and smile, and then we can discuss it on the bus. I'm just saying. Because look, I've been to great pizzerias on tours, and then maybe the owner's there or the pizza maker stops to talk to us for a second, and sometimes they say things that are not 100% accurate. But to me, there's no value in inaccuracy. It's doing a disservice to themselves. Because if their sauce tastes so good, but they're using a California tomato that they just don't want to brag about because it's not like the name brand, I think that that's much cooler. Over here, we're going to a place called Lindustry. L' Industry. And it's a place that the guy who currently owns it bought it, but it was owned by this French guy who was making pizza there like real thin. The guy wanted to get rid of it. This guy, Massimo, bought it. And when Massimo bought it, he was like, great. He's from Florence, never made a pizza in his life, decided to learn how to do it. And about 2 years into owning the pizzeria, started making some of the best pizza I think I've ever had. And I started coming here and checking it out. During the past 2 years, he expanded from one little space to now 3 spaces. So I'll show you the whole thing. Instead of adding a bunch of seating, he added a dough room. And from the outside, you'll be able to see the dough room. And it looks like we're going to bounce out of the bus right here. Follow me, I'll show you everything.
What are the top 10 lists Lindustry as one of the best pizzas in New York. We're in Williamsburg, where we're having the next generation of pizza. The way they craft it, the way they make the dough for the crust and the ingredients is top notch. So let's check it out.
Love that they use a pegboard for the menu. Comment below, what would you order? Looks like they use California. Lindustry uses high-quality Grande brand, low-moisture mozzarella that imparts a unique buttery flavor with a superior consistency and melts perfectly without leaving a greasy mess. What makes this pizzeria exceptional is that they built a dough room instead of a dining room. This double-arm mixer keeps the temperature lower than other mixers, and if the dough temperature rises, it affects the quality of the dough. How many pizzerias go that extra mile to maintain high quality standards? This is one way to control that. Yes, you can eat outside.
Lindustry's signature pizza is the burrata. It has tomato sauce, mozzarella, parmigiano, extra virgin olive oil, basil, and of course, the creamy burrata from Pecoraro, handmade in Brooklyn.
I wish there was not that much background noise so you could hear the crunch.
That first bite of the crust was firm, rather than crispy, like a slice of Joe's. It did not have the crumb that I was expecting to have. However, overall flavor was delicious. The sauce was well balanced, and the sweetness and creaminess of the burrata makes it an excellent slice. I will say that the dough here was saltier than anticipated.
So, what's the next slice to eat?
Here is the standard. The margarita is similar to the burrata, minus the burrata cheese. It's basically their version of the regular slice. This margarita was reminiscent of Scarr's over at the Lower East Side of Manhattan. Probably because Lindustry and Scarr's both source their flour from Champlain Valley, located upstate New York.
Now, for the next slice.
When in New York, you have to have the New Yorker. Take that margarita base and add the meaty flavor of the sausage, the fattiness of the cup and char pepperoni, mixed with the dairiness of the ricotta, and you have a combination that is a winner.
I really do like that basil flavor. Before I give my score,
Let's wash down that pizza with Brooklyn's best. Cheers.
A little better.
This is palatable. The other one, there must be rinds in there or something, like the lemon rinds.
comment below which slice would you eat first. Give the margarita a 7.7. Burrata a 7.9. And my favorite slice of the day was the New Yorker with a score of 8.1. So, does Scarr's make better pizza?
Okay, now for this stop at Scarr's Pizza. They're known for their crust being very delicious and fermented. Very excited to try them out. So, the owner, Scott Weiner, wanted to make pizza that no one else has, basically elevating the common pizza through better ingredients. For a great pizza, you have to start with the dough. When he opened in 2016, he sourced organic, whole grain wheat berries and personally milled them into flour. I find this whole process very fascinating.
I really hate when the pizza crust tastes like a cardboard box.
Emotional damage!
He wants to make sure he does not overly grind the grains to keep the temperature from rising, which can destroy the nutrients in the grain. He wants to make as much nutrition into each slice. After milling, he sifts the bran out to separate the flour to make the dough. Eventually, Pimentel found Champlain Valley Mill, which is about 5 hours north in upstate New York, making the flour to Scarr's specifications, and now he can make more pizza. Let's let the yeast bloom in some water, then add the flour to the water and mix. Then let it rest and allow it to ferment to help break down the dough. This process makes the crust more digestible and develops flavor. Add in some salt. Add in some organic high-quality olive oil. And keep mixing until you get this consistency. Let's portion out the dough now. And roll them into balls so they can proof. Adding a little olive oil to the pizza dough bowl will help release the dough when ready. After a day, we can stretch the dough and start building the pizza. And what is pizza without its sauce? Scarr's uses organic Bianco Napoli tomato sauce from Northern California. Within hours of harvest, the plum tomatoes are washed, steam peeled, and hand-selected, then packed in sea salt and basil. Here he's adding more seasoning to amp up the flavor of the sauce. Ladle on some tomato sauce and get ready for the cheese. Scarr's uses an all-natural aged cheese instead of fresh because the process of aging breaks down the cheese to make it easier to digest and provides a rounded out flavor. Scarr's has really thought out how to make pizza healthier and good for you. We actually waited online for about 10 minutes to order and waited another 10 minutes to get the slices. Oh, you taste the oregano in this one. Taste the yeah, this one tastier. Now, overall, the flavor from the crust is really good. So the crust is really thin, just perfect New York slice. Actually, it's elevated because of the flour that I use. The sauce is good. It had a lot of oregano in it. Nice and a little acidic. Cheese is there. A little greasy, but it's good. It's good. Okay, if I'm going to give a score of this, it will be, I'm going to have to say 7.1. 7.1 it is. You don't want to end the video? No? Alright.